at a letter and know exactly what letter that is. That's kind of another level, kind of a deeper level, that may be underlying word recognition fluency. And we started to notice, like in the measures that we take inside these schools, that if you look at how fast a kid can just like read a page of letters out loud, it's as they're growing, kind of like month by month and year by year, it turns out growth in how quickly they pronounce these letters is predicting how rapidly they can read words out loud. And it's not just that they're generally getting faster at articulating, because the same thing doesn't really work if they're looking at a block of colors and naming them out loud, but there's this relationship between the brain getting really fast and precise recognition of letters that may play a role in how well they're reading words. And that's tied to another really interesting study, not by my group, but by a group of researchers in South America have recently done some really fascinating studies looking at how kids first learn letters might have a really profound impact on how their brain represents those letters. And they have noticed that if you look at kids when they're just first learning to write letters and read letters, they often do this mirror writing or mirror reversals of their letters, where their mistakes are not just random mistakes, they're like perfect letter copies if you look at it through a mirror. But if you look at it, just regular, the kids kind of flipping back and forth between writing the letters, the right way and the mirrored way, as if they don't really know whether they're looking at, the words that they're trying to write in their mind's eye might be kind of like objects, where you can reverse an object, like if you hold a pen and you flip it one way or another way, or if you approach your car from the passenger side or from the driver's side, it's a mirror image, but you recognize it exactly the same thing. And they found that kids, when they're first learning letters, tend to represent letters as if they're objects. And they represent them as if it's, it doesn't matter which way you look at it, forward or backwards, mirror reversed or not. And this may be this self-reinforcing pattern. Every time they see a letter, they see it as both its mirror image and its veridical image. And they found that one way to get around this problem is by having kids actually close their eyes or like wear a blindfold or a kind of an eye mask in school, and then have the teacher engage in this guided imagination where they imagine the letter, and then they feel the letter being written on the back of their hand in a particular way, and then they write it with their own hand, kind of like out in the air, in which they're not seeing letters at all, they're just imagining letters. And they get lots and lots of practice imagining letters without looking at them in the correct way. And this really, really reinforces like that there's one particular way to write the letter, and they develop this kind of like irreversible letter representation. And when they do that, they start recognizing letters faster. But what's really important is that they start reading words faster. So it's as if you've helped build better letter representations in their mind. And when you use those to see words, you can see the words even more rapidly. You can pronounce words faster. They read twice as many words per minute as they would otherwise. That's been just fascinating to me to think about, how it is that just like 3 weeks of a special kind of twist on teaching can change the way a kid's mind is setting up like the very basis for kind of like word recognition and reading. And also reinforces this idea that how a kid is writing, how they're writing the letters with a pen, may actually be setting up the very neural patterns through which they see visual words when they're trying to read. And so this has been, I think this might wind up having a really big impact on education once we fully, research all the connections and sort of test it out with, novel schools testing innovative approaches. But I think that this relationship between a kid learning to write and a kid learning to recognize visual words may be deeper than we ever really appreciated.